All right, welcome everybody. We are back for another 20-minute pop-up, 20 minutes, no more, no less. Got my good friend Tony Javier here, and we are going to talk about the top 3 ways that you are screwing up by not adding TV advertising into your marketing. Tony, welcome, man.
What's up, David? Good to see you, man.
You too, buddy. Let's get right into it. What's the number one way that people are messing up by not having TV in their marketing?
Well, I'm going to talk about the top three reasons why people should be doing TV. So number one is lack of competition, right? So
Mhm,
like, if you look at your market, if you watch TV, some of you guys may not watch TV, but if you watch TV,
mhm.
you're probably not going to see very many real estate investors, if any. So anytime
Right.
I talk to a real estate investor, that's usually the thing they say is like, "Wow, I don't know anybody else who's doing TV,"
Mhm.
or "I didn't know TV was a thing."
Right.
There's a huge reason. There's a lot of reasons it's lack of competition.
Mhm.
Usually people think it's too expensive. They think their
Right.
business is too small. They think that people aren't watching TV, which there's still the average viewer for our target market is still watching over 2.5 hours of TV, right?
Wow.
A lot of people, again, think it's too expensive. They think that they need to spend this god awful amount of money on TV.
Well,
In
we just
fact,
came
that's
out
what
of
I,
the Super Bowl, man. It was like $8 million for 30 seconds. So of course
Oh,
people
isn't
think it's a
that
lot.
yeah, isn't that crazy? And so
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of people think it's tens of thousands of dollars a month in
Yeah.
order for you to be on TV, but it's not that way. So I'd say lack of competition is probably number one.
Mhm.
There's little to no competition. And
Yeah.
so for that reason, if you want to stick out and do something that other people aren't doing and get leads that other people don't know about,
Mhm.
then TV is a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine you're getting in front of so many people all at one time. Far probably better than radio, right?
Yeah, so radio is a very good complement to TV. That's the
Mhm.
thing that we recommend second as far as mass
Oh,
media
okay.
is concerned. But if you do the math between postcards and TV for the same amount of impressions that you get, so let me do the math for you here real quick. So if you do 1,000 postcards, you're going to spend about $500, right?
Right.
If you want to hit 1,000 people that see your TV commercial, that's $5. So
What?
it's 100 times less expensive to hit
What?
somebody with a TV commercial than it is for a postcard.
That's crazy. I would have never have dreamed it was that much less.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a great formula that we know works really well and it
Mhm.
hits that lower income demographic. And for that reason, TV commercials for our demographic is less expensive. And so that's one of
Mhm.
the reasons that we can hit so many people with such a small ad spend.
Wow. And I don't want to jump ahead, but you can kind of choose when you want these things to be out there as far as the
Yeah,
commercials. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's kind of like it's not as targeted as direct mail lists or lists that
Mhm.
you buy, but if you hit the right stations with the right shows, you can hit your demographic, which, I've been doing this now 13 years and
Yeah.
we've really figured out what our demographic is watching. And if you
Mhm.
can hit them and hit them many times per month, which is what TV commercials do because they're seeing you all the time,
Right.
that's what it takes to kind of be successful or for people to reach out to you when they're looking to sell.
Nice. That's amazing. All right. What's the second thing?
So number two is return on investment and return on time. So
Uh-huh.
everybody knows with marketing channels for real estate investing that you want a minimum of at least a 3 times return on investment, right?
Right.
That's kind of the number that people talk about. For me, it's been for most years between 5 and 10 times return on investment. But for me, also, it's return on time. So not only do I feel like
Yeah.
it's created a great return on investment for me and for the people that I've showed this to, but the return on time. So if you think about it, a lot of the other marketing campaigns take a lot of time and effort. So like
Sure.
texting and cold calling, lots of
Oh,
time and effort. So that's at the very
much.
top of like, not only do you have a lot of moving parts every single minute, but you also have to dig through so many leads in order to get a deal, right? But even like postcards, for instance, I do postcards. I'm not
Mhm.
knocking on postcards, but even postcards, you have to think about that every month. Okay, like
Mhm.
what is
Oh,
our creative? What lists are we
yeah.
hitting? Even if you have someone else managing it, they are still emailing you, hey, is this okay? And like,
Dude,
so there's that
so
every
much.
month of having to approve it.
Mhm.
And so TV commercials, the great thing about it is once you set it up and set it up right, it can run for many, many months. And we've even had people we've helped with their TV commercials that have had the same TV commercials for the last 3 to 4 years and haven't changed them just because they
Hmm.
performed. And sometimes it's even better with TV commercials to keep them the same because
That's
they're
just what
seeing
us.
this, yeah, they're
Yeah.
seeing the same thing over and over again. So like
Hmm.
when I first launched mine back in 2012, it was, let's see, at least about a year and a half before I changed my commercial.
Hmm.
And the only reason I did it is I just want to freshen it up and I wanted to test something new, but it was performing, so there was no
Yeah.
reason for me to really have to do it, but I decided to do that. So,
And I would
for
imagine the
me,
longer it runs, just the better it gets, the more people just start to recognize it.
yeah, absolutely. It's all about repetition. I think that that's one of the things that investors do wrong, and even not just investors, but any business is they
Hmm.
don't have a lot of consistency and a lot of repetition. So
Right.
with TV commercials, you get it set up right, continue running the same commercial. You don't have to come up with creatives every single month or think about what you're doing every single month. Not saying you can't make tweaks or can't change
Hmm.
things up and test them every once in a while, but yeah, that's the thing that I love about TV is that once you get it set up, you can continue to let it run. And like you said, sometimes it's better when it runs for 3 years
Yeah.
because the same people are seeing it over and over and over again. And then once they're ready to sell, then it's like, okay,
Hmm.
now I'm going to call Tony with professional home buyers.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy for a long time, and it's funny because there's a guy that sent me a recording of one of his phone calls with a client, and
Hmm.
he said, or she said to him, I'm actually going to go with you guys. I've been getting all these postcards in the mail, but I've been seeing you on TV for so long that I know you're credible.
Yeah.
And so you're the only one that I'm calling, and I want to do a deal with you. And he ended up getting that deal done. So
Wow.
consistency in the message will really build credibility with people. So when they do end up wanting to sell, that you are the one that they are going to call because they've seen you so many times.
Right. And of course, people, that makes sense, right? We all know jingles on TV. They're just those things that just get into our subconscious because we've seen them so many times. Even if we weren't paying attention in the background, it's just constantly there playing. So yeah, I can definitely see how it would have that effect. Right.
Yeah,
Cool.
100%.
What's the third thing?
Well, I kind of already touched on it,
Okay.
and that's credibility and trust factor, right?
Right.
So like I don't do in-person appointments anymore, but I remember when I started TV commercials, and then I'd walk in their living rooms and they would
Hmm.
actually be surprised that I was in their living room. They're like, "Oh, you're the guy from the TV
You're a
commercial,"
celebrity. Yeah.
as if I'm a celebrity.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because we get the same thing when we talk to clients, like, what are you seeing out of the gate? And one of the things is like their conversations are different.
Hmm.
When they go into the living room, they used to go into their living room and have to build that credibility, build that trust factor, build rapport, go through the whole thing, right? And then all of a sudden they're on TV, they walk into the
Hmm.
living room, and it's like that person is like more wanting to do business with them almost sometimes
Yeah.
as much, or almost as much as we are wanting to do business
Mhm.
with that person. Because again, consistency, right? They see you over and over and over.
Yeah.
They feel like they know you, they feel like they trust you.
Right.
You've been in their living room many times, and then all of a sudden you show up and it's like
Hmm.
they kind of already have an idea of who you are,
Yeah.
right?
Do people ever get like a little bit starstruck with you? Like, oh my God, it's the guy from TV, right?
Well, luckily, I don't live in my hometown anymore. I'm not saying luckily, but
Yeah.
I moved out of my hometown for lifestyle
Hmm.
reasons. So
Yeah.
I haven't been. I'm not in my market very often. I go
Hmm.
back maybe once a year,
Hmm.
but I do every once in a while when I come back. Like I'll go through Whole Foods and someone will be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, you're that guy from TV," or "Hey, you're the real estate guy, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's definitely and
Hmm.
when I lived there, I got recognized all the time. People like, "Oh, you're that guy,"
Yeah.
and it strikes up conversations, and people just, I don't know, there's something about when you're on TV,
Yeah.
people just feel like you are more legit. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
Kardashians. I mean, they didn't do
Oh, yeah.
anything really special
Right.
to be on TV, right? Other than their dad was an
Right.
attorney and all that kind of stuff, for kind of a semi-celebrity.
Yeah.
But once they were on TV, people got to know them, like them, and trust them, and that's kind of an extreme example.
Hmm.
But people literally overnight, if they're on TV, The Bachelor or
Yeah.
90 Day Fiance, these big
Mhm.
shows that people watch all the time. It's
Yeah.
like all of a sudden they become celebrities because they're on TV. And
Yeah.
the similar thing, or sometimes even the same thing happens with TV, is people just think of you as a celebrity.
Wow. I did one commercial for a realtor friend of mine, just like a testimonial kind of commercial. And same thing, he ran that, on the local NBC channel, and yeah, and people would say, "Oh, you're that guy that was on TV," and it's cool. It's a little weird, but it's definitely cool. So, couple questions, like it's it seems complicated. Like I wouldn't even know where to start to go to set this stuff up. Like where would you even begin?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons that there is little to no competition, right?
Yeah.
So if I was like David, TV commercials are a great thing to do, go do them, right? You'd be like, okay, and then you're smart guys, and you'd probably maybe figure it out, right? You'd call some
Mm,
stations,
yeah.
you would get some rates, but we've had some very smart people come to us and be like, you know what, we tried to get on TV.
Mhm.
These TV stations were giving us these crazy bids of like $10,000 or more for just like 30 to 50 spots. They wanted us
Mhm.
on prime time, they
Yeah.
wanted us to do this and that. So that's the hard thing, is that you don't know who to trust, right? So if you call the stations directly, which I did in 2005, I actually started. So 2012, I got set up correctly
Mhm.
with the right person. But in 2005, I reached out to the stations myself and I tried to do TV commercials, and I lasted 90 days. I was spending
Oh, God.
way too much money for not
Yeah.
very many commercials, and I wasn't getting a very good return and wasn't getting much traction. So you have to be able to know who to call. You
Mhm.
have to know what stations to call. You have to know what shows to be on. You have to know what the right CPM is, and I mentioned that earlier, the cost per thousand. So you need
Okay.
to know basically what you should be paying per thousand viewers of your TV
Oh,
commercials.
okay.
Then you have to script the TV commercial and script it correctly. You only have 30 seconds to get your point across, right? So you have to be able to do that succinctly and do that very
Mhm.
clear, because people's attention spans these days are not very good.
Thank you,
Um,
TikTok and Instagram, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then you have to make sure you have a good, easy to remember phone number. You got to make sure your website's memorable. There's just a lot of different pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
But if you can figure out how to get those pieces right, then again, it's
Mhm.
the return on time. Once you get it set up and do all these things correctly and do them right, then you can have a TV commercial that performs for many years and
Mhm.
provide you all that trust and credibility,
Yeah.
and just provide you just with a good stream of leads that are coming in that are very consistent, and just so many other benefits that come along with
Mhm.
TV.
And you find that the leads that come in from TV are just better and stronger than PPC or PPL or direct mail or any of that?
Yeah, 100%. So
Mhm.
not only are they better, so
Mhm.
statistically, like talking with our clients that we help with TV commercials, most of their lead sources are about 1 in 10, somewhere between 1 in 10 and 1 in 20. So if they
Uh-huh.
get 10 to 20 leads, they get one deal.
Yeah.
For TV commercials, it's anywhere from, we've heard, as little as 1 in 3. That's a little bit low. I think those people are probably a little bit more aggressive. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not going on as many. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but sometimes it's 1 in 3. But
Mhm.
usually it's between 1 in 5, 1 in 8, maybe one
Okay.
in ten. So for every five, basically for every 5 to 10 leads from TV becomes a deal. And I think for me and my business, it's between 7 and 8 leads
Got it.
becomes a deal. Because if you think about it, I mean,
Yeah.
people that are calling you, that they have more trust factor with you. They
Sure.
they feel like you're more of a celebrity,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
they're not just going to call you to kick tires and waste time. They know that you're a legit business. So they're
Right.
most of the people that call are only looking to sell. And the cool thing is, sometimes you're the only one that they call, right? Because
Amazing.
you're hitting them at the same time. You're not, like a stack of postcards. Sometimes people will get on the same list and they'll get like
Mhm.
10 to 20 postcards. They don't know to
Yeah.
call. But as with TV commercials, you're hitting a lot of people that aren't on those lists and at the right time. So if you hit them at the right time, then they call you and they call only you, and the
Mhm.
chances of you getting that deal are better. And not only chances of you getting that deal are better, but the negotiations are a lot easier. right? Because you're
Ah,
not having to
gotcha.
deal with like 5 or 10 different people.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I'm very shy. Do I have to be the guy on camera, or should I hire somebody? How do we work that?
Yeah, so there's a few different things. So number one, like for instance, for our clients, if someone doesn't want to be on the TV commercial, I will do the commercial,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
or we can hire somebody to do the commercial. Some
Mhm.
people have been like, I want an older white guy on my commercial for whatever reason, right? So there's different ways to go about that. I don't know that I'd recommend someone on your team being on the commercial.
Mhm.
But if someone on your team is doing the acquisitions and they want to be in your commercial, then we can add them in there. So again, if somebody doesn't want to be in it, we can pivot. We've done kind of like character type things. We haven't done that very much, but
Yeah.
we can do like a little cartoon character. But the thing is, if somebody's spending the money to be on TV,
Mhm.
they should really consider being on the commercial because it's
Sure.
personal branding for them. So
Got it.
when they are meeting with realtors, when they're meeting with contractors,
Yeah.
even at the title company, people just treat you differently, and you're able to sometimes get things that other people aren't able
Mhm.
to get just because you're on TV and they feel like you're a celebrity.
Cool. One last question for you. What would be an entry level budget for something like this? Like, who is this? Who's the ideal investor that should be doing this?
That's a great question. So, I mean, if you drop a direct mail piece, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people are spending at least 5 to 10 grand minimum, and a
Right.
really good direct mail drop is usually 15 to 20 grand.
Mhm.
For TV commercials, because of the way that we're able to buy them, is usually not less than 5,000 a month, but
Mhm.
usually between 5 and 8,000 a month
Oh,
is what a lot of markets can start with to be successful with TV.
nice. Well, that's not nearly as much as I thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, and again, that's the perception so that's perception of investors is that it's really expensive, so a lot of people don't even look into it. And then the
Mhm.
perception of people that are seeing the TV commercial are going,
Yeah.
man, this guy is spending a lot of money on
Mhm.
TV, and they're really not spending that much money.
Wow, that's incredible. So, Tony, I mean, the reason I brought you on here is because you're definitely the expert in our all of real estate. Everybody that I know, as far as running TV and running really high level marketing. I'm obviously you help a lot of people do this, and you've seen some incredible success. What what would it? Obviously, I know people are going to want to work with you because you're like I said, you're the guy. What does that process look like for people, real quick?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So my team, we've got a great team. My media team has been doing TV commercials for 20 plus years, so they know it like the back of their hand. I myself have been doing TV commercials in the real estate investor space for 13 years,
Wow.
and we have over 100 real estate investors running TV with us right now. So
Jeez.
we have a pretty dialed in process. So if someone wanted to work with us, we can negotiate with the stations and get all of that done basically
Mm,
using our formula,
that's cool.
right? We know over the last 13 years by tweaking things and testing things, we know what works.
Hmm.
We've got some great scripts we've used all around the country with many different investors that we've tested that are tried and proven.
Hmm.
So we can write the scripts for our clients. We can set our investors up to shoot the commercial and get the commercial shot. We will actually can edit and produce the commercial.
Oh, geez.
And then there's all kinds of little nuances in between,
Hmm.
like the phone number and the website and things of that nature that we can help the investors with so that we can basically take care of more than 95% of what it takes to get TV commercials set up.
Damn, that's like a complete just turnkey. I show up and you make it happen. I just
Pretty
stand there
much.
like the monkey in front of the camera.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. Guys, I did put in the chat here if you want to connect with Tony. It's also 10xtv.com. But reach
10xtv.co.
DCO. Oh, added the extra M. Okay, cool. Guys, definitely we're running out of time here, but definitely connect with Tony. I think you should be adding TV into your mix, especially if there's nobody else in your market doing it. Tony, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, David.
Bye.
Appreciate it.